Hello and welcome to the Arts and Wellness Cafe. It's been a while, well, say a week or so. How have you been? Have you got your drink? Drinking some water here. It's been very hot over these last few weeks. And we've had smashings of rain, but not as, we're just praying for people in New Orleans and Louisiana for their safety. And we're in the season ourselves. Here in Barbados, we have the hurricane season, which September is probably going to be the most. I mean, we've had a hurricane that came through here a few weeks back, but we're bracing ourselves in the sense that we always have to be ready. We always have to be prepared. So, how have you been? How have you been over the last few weeks? I know I do have, sorry to my regulars who come and who listen, and well, it's not live, but who watch the video. Okay, enough of that. But yeah, thanks to the regular watchers. Your comments are always really appreciated, and it's great to have you here. And one of the words that I'm going to pick up is the word that changed everything for me for a few weeks, had the biggest impact on me, and I'll share with you what that was. But today, so the word is personal, and I'll leave a link to the podcast recording of that, and I'll leave a link so that you can go and listen. But today, what I'm going to be sharing is, so we're going to be talking about the word personal and the impact on your life and what that does to your creative activity. We're also going to be looking at an art journal. So I'm going to be showing you an art journal. We're going to be doing an art journal page. And I know people seem to like to see the page and the process. If you're a patron, then you get to see the video in real time. Here, obviously, because of time, it's speeded up, but I share some nuggets in the recording. So if you're a Patreon, you can go over there. Patreons, you can support an artist from as little as $3, but there's over 50 Patreon only videos, tutorials, giveaways, downloadable things. So even if you're here for a month, you get access to all of that. So yeah, it'd be great to have you come over and join us. So we're going to be doing an art journal page, and I've also at a book that I want to show you, a book review. Yeah, so I think it's time now that we look at the book review. Look at the book, and I will leave the link to the book.
So here we have Collage Lab by B. Shea. It says experiments, investigations and exploratory projects. So as you can see, as it says it's split into 12 units, and each unit has 4 or 5 labs. Now I think that it's a good idea to actually work through each lab in sequence, because it shows you different tools and techniques which you then can build on to the next. So in the first one, we've got, as it says, building the foundation, and we look at working with a gesso surface. So as I say, each lab has each unit is split into, say, 4 or 5 labs. So when we look at each lab in particular, each lab is split further, and it's split into materials, where it looks at what kind of materials you can use. It looks at giving you some instructions to create the different examples that they show. It's got play and experiment, where you can try different techniques, and then it has food for thought, so you can think back and think of, you know, what worked, what didn't work, what you like best, what materials you like best, and it's ordered in that way. And I like the book because I like the order of the book, that you can work through, and you can take your time, you can go back. It gives you alternatives, it gives you additional things you can try, or you can do what they show you in the book, or you can just, you know, do your own thing. It also, when you work through the book in a sequence, some of the things that you create in the beginning of the books, like some of the backgrounds, you're then going to revisit them with and create on them with some of the other exercises that they show. And I think, yeah, it kind of goes through, like, you know, I think the first quarter of the book is about looking at colour theory, looking at, you know, what kind of materials you work with, and then as we go on from Unit 5, it looks more at imagery, working with stencils, stamps, looking at papers, playing with the paper, looking at mediums, and then we continue. So it's a really nice book to work through. If you're one of those people who need order and structure, it's perfect for you. If you're one of those people who want to kind of dip in and dip out, again, it's perfect, but you're working with a structure. You're working with a structure, but then you can do your own thing as well. You can experiment and you can play, and it gives you room for that. And it encourages you to play. So if you created an image, you can photograph it, print it out, and then you can use it and create different examples of the same piece with the photocopies. So that is Collage Lab. It's by Quarry Books, and it's a collection. They do a series of lab books. So that was cool, isn't it? As I say, you know, I've got loads of little books that, not little books, but art books that I brought. I think I single-handedly kept Amazon in business at one point. It was just the thrill of buying a book and then, you know, unwrapping it and it coming so quickly was the thing for me. Anyway, so let's get on. And yeah, the word personal. So I shared what I was talking about. Do you like my necklace? It's vintage. What I was talking about was, what are the kind of things that we share about ourselves, and, you know, are you sharing the things that you want to share, or are you sharing too much? And I don't think somebody else can judge that you're sharing too much. Obviously it's about what you share. I mean, somebody had said that to me, and it was just like, I don't think I'm sharing too much. It was a particular thing. I think it's other people go through this, so it can be a help to somebody else. So one of the things that made me really step back was just like, are you doing what you want to do? You know, you're sharing, but do you really want to do it? And are you showing up because you want to do it, or are you showing up because you need to do it? Like, not because you need to do it, but are you showing up because that's what you've always done? And you have to be able to think about my dog's on the floor and his legs are kind of going like that. It's just like having a dream. Go. He's stopped now. And it really made me just want to look at what I was doing. I needed a break, basically, and I needed just time for me. And I kept saying, oh yeah, I'm going to do this and I'm going to do that, but it was just like, I got up and didn't feel like it, and I had to really look at what that was about. And
partly I was doing a whole load of other things, but the things that I'm committed to, it was just like, what's going on? So I realized when I looked at it, and I looked at it from a different perspective, was that you needed to take a break. And I could have just said, right guys, I'm going to be offline for like a week and I'm just going to focus on me. And then my birthday happened, and then it was just like, okay, so you shared that, and I, what it's really showed me is that you need to carve out time for yourself. So one of the things that I do every now and again is take a nap, and it's not, oh, I'm going to spend that rest of the afternoon sleeping. It's a 5 to 20 minute time where I just totally unplug, basically, and you just rest. And I found that to be so good. It's like, I can take a 5-minute nap and come back feeling like I've had the best sleep of the night, and the way I do it is just, what it, you know how to fall asleep, but it's something that you have to plan for it, and you have to decide that that's what you're going to do and not feel guilty. So in the beginning, it was just like,
only old people nap. What's going on?
And then it was just like, what do you mean you're going to take it? This is me talking to me.
What do you mean you're going to take a nap? You got things to do. You ain't got time to take a nap.
And then it was just like,
oh my gosh, are you ill that you need to take a nap?
And then it was, oh, so that's how you feel when you're taking a nap. And I felt really good. The first time, I have to have a little alarm. It's not like a glaring alarm. I don't normally have alarms to wake me up. But it was to train me to, okay, I'm taking 10 minutes. Sometimes the longest I've taken is 20 minutes. 30, because I've done 2 15-minute sessions. It's just like, oh, no, I'm not ready. But I usually say to myself, okay, so I'm going to do 10 minutes. And then everything goes off, apart from my phone is there, obviously to alarm. And then it's like I relax my whole body, my mind. I'm not thinking of anything. It's just like, this is the only way I can describe it. The feeling is like, imagine a big giant pillow, soft pillow, and it's like, it feels like that. And so you get on the pillow, you lie down, and you just allow your whole body just to relax into that pillow, and your mind as well. And you shut your eyes, and there's stillness. Now, obviously, if you're in an environment where there's noisy people around, you might have to, I have to have quiet. But sometimes, yeah, it's just, Anyway, so do what you can. Try it. There's a lady online that does something called the Nap Ministry. And it's really interesting, some of the things that she speaks about. And it is really important that we find time for ourselves, and we take ourselves away from the stress and hustle bustle of everyday life, and the technology that's 24/7, and just allow our bodies to heal, allow our bodies to rest for a given time. And my eyes are then rested, everything is rested, and I wake up refreshed. And once the alarm goes to say, okay, it's the end of 10 minutes, I get up, stretch, and once I've done that stretch and said, okay, let's go, I'm not going to go back and say, okay, no, actually I want another 5 minutes. If I wanted another 5 minutes before I get up out of the bed, I will say, okay, let's have another 5 minutes. So it's almost like showing up for yourself and honouring yourself, and not selling yourself short. And if you're going to do something, if you say you're going to do something, do it. So that's why I say, before I get up, I say, okay, another 5 minutes, rather than...
But you were supposed to go and start work now.
Oh no, but I need another 5 minutes. I don't need to bargain with myself. It's like I can gift myself that time. So yeah, the word personal for me was just really looking into the things that I wanted to do, wanted to achieve, wanted to share, didn't want to share, wanted to change. Okay, so that was good. I liked doing that. So that's a finished page. You saw it speeded up. So if you want to see it at its real time, you can join us on the Patreon. As I said, I'll leave the link below. But it is all right to take a nap and to restore yourself and revive yourself when your body needs it, and that's something I've had to continually remind myself, because it's just like we seem more busy nowadays than we have ever been, and the constant needs to be, not everybody feels this, and I'm not saying I feel this all the time, but for people to so I took this off. Let me put it on. Oh, the thing came off. But my little necklace there, as I say, it's vintage. I've had it for so many years, but I went through a phase where I was allergic to silver and gold, and still nowadays I couldn't wear this the whole day, but just for you guys I thought I would. It's nice, isn't it? Anyway, so yeah, I wanted to share that page with you, and one of the other things that's happening is I was just in an exhibition. I've shared it on Instagram, but this exhibition, amazing art. There was some amazing artists, and you can see at the bottom the names of the artists that took part. So if you don't happen to be in the Caribbean and you want to see their work, you can check out the online gallery. That's going to be up for a month, and you can purchase work. Yeah, all of my work is for sale, most of it, and you can check out the work there. I've got two mixed media dresses, and a portrait that I did in fabric. It was my first fabric portrait, and one of my inspirations for the fabric portrait, and it looks nothing like hers, but her technique is just amazing, but Bisa Butler. And so as I was doing it, and I was thinking, oh my gosh, I don't want to do this anymore, I was thinking, about Bisa Butler's work, and how when you push through what seems like a barrier or resistance, when you come out the other side, you'd be amazed to see what you could have actually achieved. And it was just like, oh my goodness, okay. I would love to, so I was looking out there, because there's coloration on the branch. There's a mahogany tree just outside, but it looked like a monkey who was climbing up and its tail hanging down, but it's just like, it's just the branch. Anyway, and it's the discoloration. I think it's some sort of, I don't know, mold, I don't know, lichen. So she was my inspiration, and I would love to do more. I did everything by hand. I don't have one of those machines that can quilt or whatever, and I don't have a quilting foot on my sewing machine, so I was just like doing borrowed shishiko stitches on the body, and maybe that's what I do. Who knows? I was trying to do a second one. I was trying to get my son to, and he did in the end. I've got this big long sheet of roll of paper, and so I wanted him to lie down so I could get the outline of his body. And so he did. So I've got the roll. I rolled it up and put it in here, because it's just like, do you have the space to cut out a sheet, a long piece of material, which I didn't, but you can do it in sections, can't you? So maybe that's what I do. And then what I wanted to do was make this, those, what is it? It's like, I don't know what you call it, but those kind of, it's not a bodice, it's like a tailor's body thing. So it's like, it gives you the outline of the figure, the torso, and it's on like a wooden thing. And I wanted to make one, as you do. So I was trying to convince my son to let me wrap him with cellophane first, obviously, because you don't want the bandage wrap then on the skin. So I was like, yeah, let me wrap you in cellophane, because it just needs to be this bit, like the body bit. So wrap him in cellophane, and then wrap you in this fabric bandage, and then I'll cut the back and then put them together, and then would I fill it? I'm not sure, but he wasn't game for that. So we'll have to see if I dare him. Oh yeah, I dare you to. Maybe he'll do it. I don't know. Anyway, so to get onto that. So the fabric piece, oh yeah, the dresses. So I made the dresses, and you can see them here. Dress 1 and dress 2, that dress. And it's made from fabric and clay and embellishments, and you've got some Sea Island cotton in there from my garden, hand-picked. And the motivations for those was, as a young child, I saw those women who, it was just like flouncing around the ballroom, dancing, and the dresses would do that. and then they'd do the foxtrot, and it would like, but it would, generally the dresses would do that, and but I never saw anybody that looked like me dancing around the ballroom like that. And it wasn't until many years later that you saw that those films were done when my people were enslaved, and you were only told a certain part of your story. Your story didn't start from when people were enslaved. It was just like there's a rich history that a lot is hidden, a lot's been taken, all of the artifacts stolen, plundered from Africa, the whole of Africa, by the French, the English, the Spanish, the Dutch, and when you look, so when you go to the museums and you look, a lot of the artifacts are still hidden in underground storage, as opposed and the ones that you do see, like the Benin bronzes, like a lot of the carvings from Ghana and Africa, all over Africa. And so you think to yourself, well, so you went and you stole all of that, and then you try and put in the history books that, even though you've stolen all this magnificent carvings, tools, everything that you can think of, if you stole all of this, but yet you're trying to say that, well, we know. So the dress, that was the long version. So the dress kind of looks at how a young girl a young girl looks at a particular scene and wants to be one of those people, but the reality is the people that she comes from has a richer history, and the fabric, the dresses, the designs would have been even more amazing, but she never got to see them because the history that she was fed was a false one. So that's the dress. Dress 1 and dress 2. And so I'd put little vials of cotton on there, put in jewelry and things like that. And it's important to think about what our, for years, what our desires stem from. As children, we see things, and it isn't years later when you actually unpack it and you think, oh, okay, so I thought that because I perceived this, nobody said any difference, so you carry that into your adulthood, and then you wonder why. It's just like, I think when I became an adult, in my early 20s, I think what it was a wedding, bridesmaid's dress, but I went and found one at the charity store, and it was like that, and it was flouncy. So I said, and I would prance around my apartment kind of in this little dress, but then it didn't feel the same because, like everything seems so amazing and, larger than life as a little child. But then as the adult, oh, okay, I don't quite get the same thing that I thought. But years later, wanted to make a dress that depicted that kind of desire as a little child. And then as you turn the one of the dresses, you see a woman's the face of a woman, and you see markings on her face, and that represents, like, whatever tribe she was from, the richness of her history, which is also brought out in the carvings that you would see in the wood on the front of her dress, the jewelry, the different parts of Africa are being mined for the richness, the diamonds, the jewelry, the jewels, by, again, all of these countries that tried to carved it up and claimed for themselves. Anyway, there's lots there's lots of research that you can do to find out more about this, if that's you want to go down, you want to find out more. So online exhibition, you can see some more of the work. But one of the things that I am doing with some of my artwork is because there is the backstory to it, that I didn't initially start out with that as an intention, because all my art is inspired, and I don't start out with, okay, it's got to look like this. The story unfolds as I go along, and it's just, I'm led to add additional pieces to it. And it's fun working like that. It can be unsettling is not the word, but it's like you don't know what the finished piece is gonna be. So you have to rely on your intuition, Holy Spirit, and you're constantly asking. Oh, my son's calling. Let me just pause it. I'll come back to you. Hold on.
Okay, so the next thing that we're going to do, I wanted to show you some stitched pieces that I have been doing. I've got this little, it's a container, and in it I put little projects that I'm working on. Now, I think I'm going to need, we've got the sun shining through the window. Okay, that gives us a temporary reprieve. Anyway, so I've got this bin, and what I was looking at were these little spools, fabric spools, and so we're going to look at that. So what we'll do is I'll show you it, and then we'll do a bit of stitching, and it will just be a short while. And I mean, these are some of the things I incorporate into my work, in the sense that you may only have a short amount of time. So what is it you can do with that time? How can you make the most of your time? So these are thread spools, and what I've done is cover it with a bit of lace, and I've just put some fabric there. Now, it's just the beginning bits of it, so I'm gonna, you know, obviously I've still got stitching to do and stuff, but what this incorporates is a lot of the fabric scraps. So I've got these are my African fabric scraps, and then I've got just other fabric scraps. So when I'm doing some work, I keep all the bits, and one of the things I did was attach them to, so this was one large piece of fabric, and then I've added them in layers, and then I've just used the sewing machine and I've sewed over them. And then I cut this one out in strips, and I've got some fabric bits that I was considering whether I should just cut these bits and add it to this along here, or whether I should just use this, what I've got, and then add charms, beads, buttons and things like that. And I think that feels a lot more like the way I want to work. And then this one as well. So as you can see, it's just another long strip of fabric, and then you have you can see all the little bits that have been pieced together. So no bit is going to be wasted, and so if you've got little bits like this, save them, and then you know you will be able to find use for them. And I'm also getting into miniature. I haven't got anything that I've done have I? I haven't got anything that I've done so far, but I love the idea of making miniature things. As a young girl, I didn't make dolls' clothes or anything like that. I don't think I had a doll's house, but as an adult, it's like, oh, why don't you make yourself one of those? So I'm going to put these back in here, and what I'm thinking of doing is not with this particular one. So all I've done with this one is it was more like a cork spool, So I've attached these using the pins along here, and so let's come in a bit. Oops. Yeah, so I'll just wrap this round, but the eventual bit is going to be a lot thicker than this because I'm going to add some embellishments, and I'm not sure how I want this bit to end, but yeah, it's going to be a spool of fabric now, serving a new purpose. So I had a soft bit of fabric here that I thought, oh, it'd be nice to have the lace on top of that. And then in the same way, I've just put the nails, and they won't come out now, just put the nails through the spool, and it's good to go. So deciding whether to have it there and go down, or the other way round. And I'm only going to do a little bit today, so it doesn't have to be, as I say, yeah, this way is better. It doesn't have to be that you're going to spend a long time doing it. Whatever time you have, that's what the time that you spend. And where this is just really an introduction for you, so that you can see it. And so I'm going to stitch along here. And I've got this thread. It's just a blue, this is actually thread. I don't think it's embroidery thread. I've got some embroidery thread here. I was thinking of using some yellows and stuff. But as I say, this is just really a quick intro, and this will help get me back into stitching as well, because I haven't done any stitching for a while, and I've got a lot of projects that I really do want to get to. So I've just done the thread through the middle so that the knot is in the middle, and then I'm just going to go through the back and just stitch along here. You get to see a bit of sunshine depending on where you are. You get to see how the studio is in the afternoon. I don't currently have blinds at this part of the window, and this is where I work, but what I would normally do is come the afternoon I'd be working on something, say maybe on the computer, editing or doing some digital stuff. So I have seen other people's little spool, fabric spool things like this, and it's just like, oh my gosh, it looks so gorgeous. I'm gonna to make sure that it's kind of as straight as possible. Okay. So I've done a line along here, and you can see it on the back here. So what I would probably do, I'm thinking, because this is going to go like so, is that I'm going to have embellishments and beadings on this side, and then you open it out, and I may have some words in here, some encouraging words. So yeah, that's that. And yeah, so it was just really to introduce you to these spools. Spool. Introduce you to them, and the idea of just taking some fabric that you might have and put them together, just the waste bits of fabric, and how they can be turned into a wonderful piece of art. And I'm going to look out for some charms and things like that I might have that I can incorporate into here, and maybe even do some stamping on some fabric, some words, and then stitch these on. But yeah, it's a nice little thing. It's a nice little thing to have, and as I say, it will roll back up, and it will have a little thing to clasp it shut, and then you've got a little spool, book? Should make it into a book? We'll see. All right, let's get back. Oh, so hello there. Back in the room, what did you think? These little spools, they're okay, aren't they? So, yeah, I'm hoping to do some more work with them, and that should be fun. And yeah, just it's like looking at the things that you have and seeing how far you can go with them, and creating things that you never really thought of before. So in bringing it all together, so think about the word personal, think about what that means to you, think about, are there things that you want to change, and how do you want things to look as you're going forward? Remember that this is not a dress rehearsal. There is no take one, take two, not double take, but there is no retakes, yeah? So live the best life you can. And think about the things that you're doing, think about the things that you want to do, and step out of your comfort zone and start doing those things. And even on saying that, this is a book of stories. It's a book full of stories, and you can see each of the tabs along here are stories that I wrote and had just sat in this book. So I've taken it out as a reminder that I need to start typing up these books, and I'm hoping by, should I put a time on it? By the end of September at least, I would have had one of these books out. There's about 14 short stories that I want to turn into books and do the illustration for. So that's a commitment that I'm making, trying to hold myself accountable, that when you focus on the wrong things, you get caught up in a spiral of doubt and misunderstandings, different perspectives, and you need to have a different perspective to look at it and say, well, actually, okay, that way isn't working, and it's not that I haven't tried, but I need to focus on this, I need to do that, I need to remove that from my life, I need to step out of my comfort zone, whatever it is that you need to do it, to try it, to not be afraid. I mean, you know, even me doing the Arts and Wellness Cafe, sometimes it's just like, really? But I get so much joy from it. And I do have those people who listen, and it's just like the comments have just been really, really heartwarming, and it makes you think, so I am on the right track. You know, people are being encouraged, and that's the main thing. So out of all of that, and you know, just sharing that with you. This is something that I'm committing to for sure. By the end of September, because we're at the end of August now, by the end of September I will have had one of those out, and I'll be able to share that with you at the end of September's Arts and Wellness Cafe. Deal? Okay, so take care for now. Thank you for joining me, and I look forward to either seeing what you create, whether you've been inspired by the art journal, by the book, or by the stitch project. See, I only sat, you know, it was just a few minutes and did something, and yeah, let me know, let me see, hashtag or at, you know, tag me at Reality Arts on Instagram, and yeah, you know, let's do this. Let's do this. Let's stay blessed and be a blessing. Take care for now.